Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Warren Brothers Sports Show. There's the music. That's what I was waiting for. Today on the program here on the Warren Brothers Sports Show, coming to you live here on YouTube on the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. We have plenty to discuss. First of all, we will discuss that Paul Warren is not here. He's out on assignment. Covering for him today is a plush of Foghorn Leghorn. That's what we have. A doll, puppet, whatever it is. Let's see what else going on. Paul's out at First Energy Stadium, where he was taking care of his seats that he has saved for the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl parade. He is already, that's been sitting there for several months now. That taken care of. Although he wasn't too thrilled about doing weekly maintenance on it. So who knows how long it's been since he's been there. I believe that the Cleveland Browns can beat the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday. We will delve deeply into that. We will discuss the Patriots winning last night over the New York Giants. That's correct. Not that there should be a surprise for anyone. The Giants are a dismal football team, relatively poorly constructed, in my opinion. That quarterback of theirs, he's a fine young man, but sixth overall. Anyway, what else? The rest of the NFL here in Week 6. Everything that's going to be going on there, and then Ohio State football. They play tonight. Northwestern, I do believe, will be their next victim. That's who's on the docket for tonight. And Major League Baseball, where it stands with the League Championship Series. There are 2 of them. They are both going on beginning tonight, I do believe. The Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, are facing off against the Miracle Nats, not the Miracle Mets, the Natty Lights, the Washington Nationals. Or some of you may recall. Hey, what's up, Epic Radio Show? Thanks for listening. You may remember the Washington Nationals as the Montreal Expos once upon a time. What? What about, what's that, Rivera? We off this week. It's next Friday, bud. What are you talking about? That's next week? Oh, I read the schedule wrong. No Ohio State game this weekend. So that kind of cuts down on Ohio State talk then. Oh, that's one segment gone. Screw that nonsense. That's over then. Thanks. I'm glad you're paying attention to what's happening in sports world better than I am. My listeners out there with your live chatting in, which you can do here on the YouTube, which is good. But go Buckeyes. It's maybe they've got a lacrosse game. There's some field hockey. They'll get interrupted for fireworks. If you're familiar with that news story, happened recently. And if you're not, I'm not going to tell you about it because I don't care. So we'll get right into it. We'll talk Browns. We're going to talk Browns. The Browns can, and I am of the opinion that if they play well, they will beat the Seahawks. And here's the reason why they can beat the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to be daunted. Oh, those Seattle Seahawks with their 4-1 record and their uniforms that were left too close to radiation. Where's Paul? I said where Paul was. Paul's out on assignment. He's supposed to call in at some point. Of course, knowing Paul, who knows if that'll happen. But he's out at First Energy Stadium. He had already reserved his spot for the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl parade in February. People had it posted on Facebook back in April. Date and time of the parade, and Paul wanted to beat the crowd, so he was the first one there. Had a lawn chair and mini fridge, a whole setup. I don't know how he did it, but that was his claim. And he'd call in with updates on the other show, this show, on the other station. And that's where he apparently went to check up on it today. It got destroyed at one point by a rabid Indians fan. I don't know why. That was his story. So that's Paul. That's what he likes to do. He's so prepared for the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl parade that 10 months before the Super Bowl, he went and picked a seat right out in front of the stadium. I think he would spend nights sleeping inside the stadium. I don't know. He had a whole bunch of stories. And I have no reason but to believe that they're all true because, he's Paul. Why would he lie? Let's see here. If you want to call the show, phone number is 216-487-1507. I believe that's correct. I don't know. Of course he hates the Browns, but he loves parades and he likes when people win. And that makes him feel better about himself, even though he hates football and sports and me. Let's see what else. So the Browns will defeat the Seahawks, and especially, turnovers aren't even the biggest deal. Baker's going to throw over 20 interceptions this season. I said that before the season started. It's a very unpopular opinion for whatever reason, because apparently Baker Mayfield is the second coming of Otto Graham. I didn't want to get too religious-y there for you, and so I just went Otto Graham because Baker, Bernie's Catholic, and he'd get mad. It depends on your parallels. And Otto Graham, he was just a guy who was really into crackers. He invented that one particular kind. And so what you have there with the Baker Mayfield fella, he's going to throw about 20 picks this season. That's what I've got. He's going to throw 20 interceptions. And the hope was that he'd throw about 30 touchdowns. We're 5 games into the season. He's only thrown 4. And that's because he's facing really good talent. And there's a myriad of directions we could go in with this whole thing here. The fact that we were just beleaguered against the tribe, Cleveland Indians there. Just wait till they get through the early part of the season, the easy part of the season. The hard parts early on, and then they'll play the easy part, and they'll be fine. Whereas with the Cleveland Browns, they have the hard part of the season, which they're in right now. And if they were 2-4 at the bye week, we as Browns fans would be fine. Apparently not Browns Twitter. If you go on Twitter at all, if you're on the Twitter, hey, I'm on the Twitter too at Mark Warren 216. And oh my, the Twitter discussions. We're ready to fire Freddie Kitchens. Let's draft another quarterback next year, talking draft. The things that our pseudo sort of fans in this town do. It's what happens. And with that being said, I see no reason for the insanity. I didn't necessarily have the Seahawks game as a win, but as I look at it now, Seahawks are definitely beatable. And here's why. The Seahawks might be the worst 4-1 team I've seen in quite some time. And I know that's quite a thing to say, but you take their wins, their 4 victories. Now, mind you, the one loss that they have was a tight game. They lost to the Saints 33-27 in that particular game. And they did cream the Cardinals. I almost called this team the St. Louis Cardinals too. That's the team in Major League Baseball. The Cardinals of the NFL are in Arizona or Phoenix or Flagstaff or whatever it is they're called now. And so the Cardinals, well, they're just not a good team. Kyler Murphy, whatever you want to say about the direction they're going in, and Knightsbury, Cliffsbury, whatever the fella's name is coaching out there. The Cardinals, whatever happens with them. They got crushed by the Seahawks. Seahawks in their other 3 wins. So, they're a 1-1 team outright. Saints played them well, and they lost that game. Was that overtime even? I don't remember. And I've watched too much of the Seahawks, in my opinion, this year, because they lost to the Steelers 28-26. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They beat the Steelers 28-26. They defeated the Steelers, a game the Steelers almost won. Came back to beat the Bengals in week 1, 21-20. 21-20 was that victory there. And there'll be plenty in regards to discussing which team is better, the Seahawks or the Rams. That could be your NFC Championship game preview, what have you. The Seahawks were able to eke out a victory 30-29 in that game. And with that being said, I'm sure maybe you were doing the math with me. In those 3 victories, 2 of which against teams that are really bad in the AFC North, and one against the Rams, who who are quite possibly one of the best teams in the NFC. The Seahawks have won 3 games by a total of 4 points. So what you're looking at there is a Seahawks team that, they've got their good defense. It's a good defense. Their vaunted running game. They're one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. And the Browns these last 2 weeks have played poorly against the run on defense. That's certainly true. With all of those things in total there, the Seahawks were barely able to beat the Bengals and the Steelers, and also barely able to beat the Rams. So where does that put the Seahawks? Are the Seahawks this great 4-1 team that's the cream of the NFC, about a third of the way through? Or are the Seahawks a team that could just as easily be 1-4 if it weren't for 1 or 2 plays in a game? Now people like doing that. We're all Clevelanders. We love doing that. There have been years in which the Browns finished 4-12, and we have the audacity to say, hey, we should have been 12-4. I mean, that's if every single thing in all of those 8 games, those particular seasons in which we lost by a score or less, just went our way. It never seemed to go that way, and that's why Joe Thomas never played in a playoff game and things like that. Because us as Browns fans will look at it as one bad call by a ref or one dropped pass by who's that schmuck who's been on like 4 teams in 3 years? We shipped him off to the Bills for Tyrod Taylor. Wasn't that the trade? That one wide receiver that I keep wanting to call Antonio Callaway because he was Antonio Callaway before there was Antonio Callaway, but they're all like the same dude. So with that being said, that's my Browns take on all of that, which is technically really just a Seahawks take, is that it is a winnable game. And it would be about damn time that you win a game at home this year. You lose the first 2, the home opener, which is pretty much a rite of passage here in Cleveland anymore. You can set your watch to it. Oh, it's the Browns opener. Oh, that's a loss. All right, good. We got that out of the way. And then the loss to the Rams on Monday night, a game I didn't think they were going to win. Even as it went on, I was surprised that it was as low scoring as it was. I believe the Indians played the same night. Sadly, it was the last Indians win of the season, but an incredible game by the Indians offense where the Browns, I think, only scored a couple more points than the Indians scored runs. So true defensive struggle there in the NFL. And all I'm hearing about, who sucks at home? Yeah, the Browns suck at home. Yeah, well, this year they do. And most years they probably do. Most years they just suck. So that's some low-hanging fruit there. Epic radio program. Thanks for listening. As you out there actually can listen to them when they're on Sundays in their various reruns. You find them on numerous platforms. Does that count as the commercial then? I guess I'll count that as my commercial, which I should go to anyway. But before you go to commercials, what you got to do is you got to do traffic and weather. And of course, with no Paul here, instead we got this guy right here. His headphones came off. Hang on. Headphones came off of the stuffed animal that's representing Paul today. There we go. There's a stuffed... That's my dad laughing in the background. He oversees the productions here. I kind of have him blocked because he doesn't really want to be on camera. And by blocked, I mean my fat ass is sitting in his way, is what it is. But he may even interject at some point here and there with random thoughts, since Paul's not around to give his random thoughts. I'm on 2 shows. What do you mean? Oh, what? So yeah, I'm going to give you a little plug. Whatever, Epic. People can listen to your show too. Sunday mornings, 10:30 a.m. And it's a show. It doesn't suck, even though I'm on it. I do sports on there. I also talk too much on there, or something else too. I'm funny. Whatever. So anyway, we're going to go on over to the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center, which is right here because it would be just right there, but Paul's not there. So I'm here, or I'm not going to just walk over there and do a voice like Paul does. But here's your traffic and weather, just to let you know. Traffic-wise, everything is fine here on Henninger Road. There's no traffic. It would be the time to like pan over if I had a second camera, like over there, just viewing the street. I live on a dead-end street in Old Brooklyn, and there's no traffic on it. There's like a dozen cars. People just park at random, whatever they want to do, but there's no traffic. You just got to drive past all the parked cars. And then weather, of course, you can expect spotty showers today with a high of 78 degrees. Currently, it's about 74 And when I say about 74, that's because I checked before the show started. So I think it might still be 74, but I don't know what it is right now. That was like half an hour ago. And of course, tonight you can expect darkness after sunset. That's your weather. Let's see. After weather, what I like to do is let you know about the news. So I got the news. And oh man, I forgot to play a song to send me out to break. And that's what I like doing. So we're just going to play this song during the break and the commercials. That's what we'll do. Because, you need to have a little bit of music. Because if you don't have music, then it's just me talking. Hey, there it is. Hey, that's letting you know it's the news. That's what we'll call that. So in the news, Mayor Frank Jackson gave his State of the City address. And instead of actually talking about anything regarding the state of the city, he said, hey, quit asking me questions about my family. Who cares if they're a bunch of criminals? I'm tired of hearing about it. I love my family and care about them. But, they commit crimes. I mean, my family loves me. I've got a record. I don't care. If my relatives were the mayor, I'd expect them to maybe say, well, hey, can we talk about this another time? This is State of the City address. I got to tell you that we're going to default again. No, he just goes, oh, you worry about you, I'll worry about me because I'm Frank Jackson. Bah, 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 bah. I've just made enemies. So, also in the news, there's legislation for a repeal on the tax on tampons. The claim is that other such hygiene products are not taxed, and that doesn't sound right to me. They're all non-food items. So they all should be taxed. So I'm fairly certain they all are taxed. However, if you're eating tampons, you got another problem altogether. Lastly, of course, Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky, the wreckage from their 1984 Chrysler LeSabre convertible was found in Lake Erie. However, neither man were found. It is suspected, according to assistant to the head diver, Hugh Jackson, that Cosby and Sandusky are either on the loose, are zombies, or ghosts. That fits in nicely with it being October and Hugh Jackson being an idiot. So that's where we stand right now. That is your news break there, and we are going to head into the second segment, which usually is when another song would start playing, but I didn't start playing this song until it was too late. So give me a minute, and when this song ends, I'll do something else. Yeah, the traffic, did weather. Oh, yeah, the commercial, which, listen to the Epic Radio Show. That's on Sunday mornings. I'm on there. I'm the best part of it. Epic is the host. I think his wife, Ashley, yeah, she does Crazy News. There's some guy named Chris. He's a local stand-up comedian. He does a segment. It's called What Is That? Or Say What? Or something like that. I don't pay attention to the show that I'm on. I don't pay attention to this show that I'm on. So how am I going to pay attention to another show or any show or anything like that? I barely pay attention to reruns. But hey, here we got more music letting you know that we're coming back. And this is the football music, because it is football music that you can find on NFL Films, and it's free. More reason why I like using it. Let's see. What are we going to go on with? NFL. And I highly doubt anybody was all too surprised that the New England Patriots defeated the New York Giants yesterday. I brought that up in the opening segment, first segment there. If I set this up right, so no, I don't think I've had a phone call yet. If you do want to call the program, that phone number is 216-487-1507. That's 216-487-1507. Yeah, football wise, I didn't watch the game last night. It's not the Browns. Watched the Browns. I watch Ohio State, and I'll peek in on stuff. Like I said, I've watched more Seahawks games than I thought I would have this year. The Giants had tied it at 14 at one point after the Patriots had a 14-0 lead. But ultimately, the Patriots did win 35-14. Patriots improved to 6-0. Giants fall to 2-4. Daniels, that the kid's name? I can't keep track of all these quarterbacks anymore. Kid Kid's shown himself to be the next guy to take over for Eli Manning, but who really cares? Sunday. That's the big day for the football playing, and that's when we'll start with the London game. I think we play in London every week now. There's an NFL. It's just like the Thursday night game. I think there's a Friday afternoon game. There should be one on right now, or is that because of time zones? They're doing the kickoff in London now. That's a lie. I didn't even realize Ohio State wasn't playing today, so I screwed that up. So thanks for letting me know, Josh, and then just disappearing. Appreciate that. I want to make sure I got the next song queued up so I don't forget to play it this time. So, yeah, get that clicked on there so I can just click the other button and it'll start. Okay, so nothing going on in the live chat, but what's going on in the NFL? That London game being the Panthers at the Buccaneers. I'm not looking forward to that, I'm going to be honest. I like this song a lot, if you can't tell. Seahawks and Browns, we talked about that. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure, especially if anybody who is actual Browns fans start chiming in. Texans at the Chiefs. Now, the wonderful folks, it's CBS? No, it's the NFL. Oh, the NFL itself. So, of course, with betting what it is, whomever has that, if anyone's doing that, there are teams already favored. If it's the NFL telling you who's favored, then you know it's like Paul says, and it's more like the XFL. I mean, right here, Carolina is favored to go into Tampa Bay and defeat the Buccaneers. And by going into Tampa Bay, I mean playing in London, where Tampa Bay is the home team, which means they've been cheated out of a home game, just as the Browns were last year in whatever meaningless game they played in London last year. A game they lost. Or was that 2 years ago? I can't keep track of this because London's stupid. Not the city itself, even though it kind of is. Is that London calling? No, that's no one from London. And Texans at the Chiefs. Kansas City is favored to win, as they should be. Kansas City is a better team than Houston. It's pretty simple. Jacksonville is favored to defeat the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 4-1 this season. Saints are a pretty damn good football team, even without Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater seemed like the smart guy to go out and get. I mean, they have the weapons there. It shows that I mean, how talented would you say, you listener, is Teddy Bridgewater? He's talented. He did fine in Minnesota before the injury. But how good is he really? Well, we're finding out. Must be pretty good. The Saints are 4-1. That means they won the 3 games that he started that. I mean, they lost the one that he came into. Who was that against? They lost 27-9. I forget who. I honestly, I can't keep track of all this crap. So I'm not a big NFL guy. I love football. I'm starting to become less of an NFL guy. Hey, here's the game no one will care about. The 0-5 Redskins heading off to Miami to play the 0-4 Dolphins. I think anyone's even going to be at that stadium. Redskins favored to win that one. Here's the one of the two that matter to me. And I'll stop rambling on unless it turns out that people actually want to hear this. The Bengals are 0-5, heading to Baltimore to play the Ravens tomorrow or Sunday at 1:00. Ravens are 3-2, barely squeaked out a victory against the Steelers this past weekend. And the Bengals, of course, 0-5. We have 4 teams in the NFL that have not won a game. The other one, I've mentioned 2 of them, the Redskins and Dolphins playing each other. So one of them will have a win. And the Jets, the wonderful New York Jets, are 0-4 and hosting the Cowboys. You coming in here, Dad?
For a minute.
All right.
I gotta redirect the conversation just a little bit.
Well, that sounds fine by me. You want headphones?
No.
Okay. You want to stay off camera?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll slide this over slightly. There we go.
Simple
all right.
Question.
All right. What's your question here? I got to unmute your mic. All right. What's that?
Very simple.
Okay.
I just want to know, what is your takeaway from the Browns 49ers game?
My takeaway from the Browns 49ers game, since and especially since I had started kind of talking about that yesterday, then Paul started talking about, I don't know, whatever he was talking about, highlight day glow uniforms that the Seahawks wear. So my takeaway from the Cleveland Browns game is that the Cleveland Browns sucked. And I know that's too simple a statement. That sounds like the kind of thing that Paul would just say. Other than they suck, they went into San Francisco. They started off playing well, and then eventually what happened was as soon as that ball bounced off of Callaway's hands and the Niners got a pick, and they were up 14-3 at the time, and it completely changed the complexion of the game. The Browns just gave up after that. That's what it looked like.
To me, what it looked like, there's a famous scene in a movie called Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
Where a guy said, where this little Weasley guy says, what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Right. Yes. We've discussed this off air a little bit before. Is this a Freddie Kitchens problem or is this a Baker Mayfield problem? And I think at least here in the early going in the season, it is a coaches and players problem because
it looks like a coach that isn't communicating well and quarterback that's not listening very well.
Because then even after the game, they trot the offensive coordinator out there, a guy named Moinkin, and he goes and he says, well, that's not Baker's fault that the ball gets intercepted there. It bounces off the hands of the wide receiver, and it's the fact that plays aren't being executed. But then there's other times where you see some plays being called and you're wondering why that's the play call and it doesn't make sense. And so all over the place, there's plenty of different things going on.
I mean, that was my main takeaway from the game. That's takeaway number one. Takeaway number two, we don't have a good enough running game against defense like the 49ers have.
Well, the tough thing is Chubbs ran the ball very well. He had 17 carries for 87 yards, something like that. And it's just that once you dig yourself into a hole where you're trailing 21-3 going into halftime,
right,
you start passing the ball. And everybody knows you're going to pass.
Right.
And the thing is they didn't need to totally give up on the run. There were times where the run would have still been utilized there in the third quarter, and they could have done something, but they didn't because they got away from it. And
you have an inexperienced quarterback and an inexperienced manager. I mean, head coach.
Yeah, Kitchens
and him are both in a little bit over their heads. So what they have to do is they have to simplify things like they did last season.
Correct.
So that they can have success instead of trying to prove, something, having their egos get in the way of play calling and execution, because that's what I see going on.
Right. They have to prove to everybody that they were smart enough to deserve being the first overall pick in the draft and smart enough to prove that they deserve to be the head coach of this football team with virtually no experience to earn the job.
Right.
So they're trying to prove their smartness. And at the very end of it, to be perfectly frank, football's not a game about smarts. I watch a lot of old tape for no good reason other than the fact that I enjoy it. The game isn't very much different than it was in the 60s, 70s, 80s. You can still do that stuff now and be successful.
Right.
I mean, they were making a big deal out of Kitchens bringing back a particular run formation late last season. And there's a simplicity in this formation. And it hadn't run the wishbone or whatever it was since the 50s. Well, there are a lot of teams who were still running similar style offenses in the late 70s, early 80s. And the guy who's the one head coach that would surprise you that was doing it was Sam Rutigliano. He knew you needed all facets of offense to make it work. For as much as he liked having a quarterback who throw the ball all over the yard and take chances, that didn't open up for you unless you had a good running game.
Right.
Oh, a reminder here. I didn't do it at the top of the hour.
That's enough for me.
All right. There, I'll mute that mic. There we go. And didn't do it at the top of the hour, but here we are at the bottom of the hour. That this is WBBN, the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. The views and opinions of this program don't express those of ownership. Ownership is vehemently against cronyism and nepotism. Now over to one of the owner's friends or relatives or himself with their show. And I want to thank my father, who was just on for a minute there, giving us some insights and asking me some questions in regards to what is happening in this Cleveland Browns organization. That's where I put this guy. So we'll put this guy back, represent Paul. Also got Paul's comfy seat there. You know, just pan down a little. Paul put a little thing there for his butt. As my microphone is in technically what would be Paul's way, but what does it matter? Because Paul's not actually here. It's just Foghorn Leghorn over there somewhere. Here, hey, say about that. I'm Paul. Blah blah blah. All right, a couple more minutes left here in this segment. Whatever. In respects to the Browns' loss to the Niners, and again, we'll get into this. The NFC West, the division that the Browns play against this year in the NFC, as is how the schedule works. If you're familiar with how the NFL schedule works, it's a pretty damn good division. I mean, facts are facts. It is. It's a good division. Hey, the phone's ringing. Let me see if I can figure this out. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Paul.
Hey, I actually hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're not doing that.
Okay, fine.
Even though the guy in the commercial is apparently also named Paul. What?
Bot is still destroyed.
Paul, I was talking while you were talking. What did you say?
I was listening to all the I had at for the Super Bowl parade.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody ransacked it, and I think it was that Tony guy.
Okay, well, our viewers aren't really all too familiar with your escapades there. What do you mean that Tony guy? This is the rabid Indians fan who's actually really just an alcoholic, and he was really mad at you, right?
Yeah. Yes, and he also said the Browns are not going to get Super Bowl, so why the blank are you wasting your time?
Wow, he said that to you, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So wait, he was there again today?
He was. No, this was
the last time. It all led to the court thing and all that other stuff.
Monday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sounding way too loud. Is that my headphones? No, it's just my headphones. All right.
So he was there. He was drunk as usual.
Wait, last time or now?
Recently.
Oh, okay. So, but when you went today, because you're reporting live from First Energy Stadium, and all your stuff is still ransacked.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about just throwing the thing away because I kind of figured the Cleveland Browns will have the Super Bowl this year.
But that was the whole. I mean, you're just gonna throw away the lawn chair and the cooler and the mini fridge and the hibachi and whatever else you had there.
Okay, I'm gonna find a storage place for it. But as of now, it's kind of there's little to no point for having it right now.
Because you're saying there's no chance the Browns make the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, it's good to know that you gave up on the season and it only took 5 weeks in. Oh, let's be honest. You gave up on it when they lost to the Titans week 1. I thought you were really excited for the parade. You really wanted to see the parade.
Well, it's not going to happen this year. Just same as the World Series parade. It won't happen this year. It won't happen next year. It won't happen in another 100 years.
Another 100 years?
Never have because of Clevelanders. Having less fun than any human being can ever have.
Hey, since you're here now and you can do it, what's the traffic and weather like out there? We throw it over to Paul Warren at the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather walking around. What?
Well, the traffic right now, it's just normal traffic flow, and the weather is clear and sunny and in the 70s. There's going to be a storm coming this weekend, so it's going to be cooler. There'll be some rain tomorrow.
So that's your traffic update? And your weather update?
And I bought some produce from a certain store called Aldo's.
Did you actually are you gonna jam all this produce into our fridge again like you did last time? We got more produce in there. We can't even fit any pop or beer or condiments or anything. Got to stick like.
I didn't get that much. I went to a grocery store.
Oh, it wasn't stuff given to you for free.
So,
that's when you really stock up, is when it's free.
Yeah.
Have like 1,000 green peppers. There's no way we were gonna eat all these green peppers. We're down to one last green pepper, though.
I didn't. Yeah, well.
You're the one who brought up produce.
We still have to. Yeah, well, I have celery, I have peppers, I have tomatoes. So, I hope to see you this weekend.
Well, of course, I'm going to see you tomorrow. We film tomorrow.
Okay, then.
And I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
See, so hang on. So you're just going to hang up now?
No, I just wanted to let you know the updates and status and what I bought today.
Well, all right. Well, that makes for riveting radio programming. What you bought today. All right. That's Paul with the segment. I just bought a bunch of green peppers for no good reason. Is that all? Is that all?
No, we still have green peppers and cucumbers. Still good, right?
Yeah, we do, but that's. I mean, did you call me to just talk about like random nonsense? As a sports show.
No, just the sports thing. The sports show.
So why are we talking about produce?
That was all.
Okay.
Well, because I ran out of things to talk about the Cleveland Clowns.
Uh-huh.
Because I know they're gonna probably lose against the Seattle Seahawks ugly uniforms.
You know, they don't wear those every Sunday. The Seahawks probably won't be wearing those when they play us. Do you have a prediction on the final score?
32-0 Seahawks.
Well, there you go. There's the Paul Warren bold prediction of the Seattle Seahawks stomping on the Cleveland Browns 32-0. I should probably since you just did traffic and weather, I should probably do the news then, huh?
Yep.
All right, I'll let you go then.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Bye. Well, that was Paul Warren, riveting Cleveland Browns talk and what have you. We're gonna head on over to the news, the old Brooklyn news desk, which is right here where I'm sitting. Hey, here's some news music for you too. I hope you enjoy while I read the news over this music. In the news, Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson gave his State of the City address. He was sure to tell everybody in the media who was asking him questions about the degenerates that are his family members, grandchildren, nephews, people who like to drive four-wheelers and possibly stab and beat women. But that's not what this night's about. Don't worry about my family. My family's just like yours. Something like that. Other news, the pink tax. I'll turn this down. Is that me or is that whatever's going on? Doesn't matter. All right. So the pink tax, which is the tax on tampons. Our state legislature here in Ohio is looking to repeal that tax because other hygiene products aren't taxed, which isn't true. I buy a toothpaste. There's a tax on toothpaste or toothbrush. So, I mean, these items are taxed. That's a lie. I don't know where that comes from. Other feminine hygiene products. So if you buy some Summer's Eve. Can I say that name? Douche. Isn't that a lady's douche? If you buy a douche, there's a tax on a douche. So so tampons shouldn't be taxed. That's a big problem. Oh man, can't spend that 8 cents on the dollar. And lastly, Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky, according to the assistant of to the head diver in the case involving their shenanigans, their breakout from the thank you, yes, coming back due to their break free from the Penn State pen. He is convinced, Hugh Jackson, assistant to the head diving instructor, is convinced that Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky are either on the loose, are zombies, or ghosts. So be on the lookout for the zombie ghosts of Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky. Coming back into it. I guess there's no upcoming Ohio State football to talk about. We can talk about the old stuff. This was that segment. That's why the metal music is here. Because of college football. That's right, kids. So we could do more Browns talk. Or we could do something else. I don't know. I've got no listeners now. It says I got one. Nobody's out there. Is that 4 for a second? You guys got to join in the live chat. Tell me what you want to hear. These Ohio State football-wise, I mean, we just keep crushing opponents. We're outscoring them by 30 points a game. We're averaging something like 55 points a game. We're giving up 20. And that's Ohio State football in a nutshell for you. I guess I got to wait till next Friday to watch a game. I was planning on watching that today. We could just jump right on into baseball stuff. The American League Championship Series is now set since the Houston Astros defeated the Tampa Bay Rays last night 6-1. I am not going to go so far as to say it was not much of a game because that's unfair to the Tampa Bay Rays, who fought hard and got as far as they did, quite frankly, with the second lowest payroll in all of Major League Baseball. So when people go on about the Dolans being cheap or other such things that they do, I don't understand it. The Rays were able to accomplish all the things that they could, all the things that they did. Won, 98 games, 96 games, had a great season, and just fell a little short. Doing something very creative pitching-wise that must be good enough for a whole bunch of other teams in Major League Baseball to emulate. Maybe they do it a little over the top. I wouldn't start relievers 2 out of 5 games in a row. That's a bit much. But in respects to the Tampa Bay Rays accomplishing all that they did this year, so Yandy Diaz got to play 5 more games than the rest of the Cleveland Indians. Michael Brantley's still playing. He'll be playing in the NLCS, ALCS, and then you'll get CC Sabathia hopefully back on the Yankees postseason roster. He didn't even play in that quick 3-game sweep of the Twins. So this big hole to do about the Twins. Oh man, should spend money like the Twins did, even though the Twins' payroll was less than ours. They went out and they improved. Well, yeah, they improved because they really sucked the year before. We actually technically stayed just as good or slightly better. There was just another team that was better. Like, it's such a difficult concept to comprehend. Like with the Browns, hey, the Ravens, maybe they're just better, even though we did go down there and beat them 40-25. We're going to find out as the season goes on if the Browns or Ravens are better. Same in baseball. Twins were just better. Apparently not better than the Yankees, though. And then watch. And the Indians would have had a real series with the Yankees, as opposed to the Twins, who are a one-trick pony. Yeah, they hit the ball. They don't pitch very well. And that was obvious with how well the Yankees hit off of them, too. Yankees demolished them. The final score of that one game was 8-1 or 8-0. I think that was the clincher even. Yeah, that's right. I drink tea out of a half-gallon jug. That's just me talking to myself at this point. Man, doing 2 hours by yourself is tough. I'm glad Paul called, though. Of course, he calls right at the end of a segment, as is Paul's style. Didn't even get a chance to play his music. I don't even have his music yet. It's not fully up. As long as the other thing's recording. Is that thing still recording? Yeah, that's still going. So that means I'm doing it, and I'm still live, and no one's watching. So hey, it's just like at the other station. So the league championship series are set. The National League Championship Series certainly intrigues me. You've gotten one of the most storied franchises in Major League Baseball, quite possibly one that I think is run better than the Yankees, that being the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis Cardinals, every decade, they're represented. I mean, even in the 90s, they had playoff teams. 80s, they made the World Series. Can't remember the 70s too well. I mostly don't remember the 70s because I wasn't born yet. However, being a fan of the historical aspects of sports, I do recall the Cardinals being a very good team throughout the annals of history, and they quite frankly have the second most World Series championships to the Yankees. The Yankees did all of their damage relatively consistently, but not quite as consistently as the Cardinals did. And I bring up the word consistency because this was a big deal on the Twitter for a while there. Was it that people were upset with the Indians season, this previous season? You heard Paul, some of his complaints yesterday. But you had people who were going on about their consistency over the course of this last season. Their consistency, what does that even mean? It's a 162 game season. You're not going to just win them all. It's virtually impossible to win 110 games. When you win 100 games, that's a pretty special thing. In fact, think about it this way regarding the National League Championship Series. Those aren't even the two teams that had the most wins in the National League this season. That's right. The Cardinals defeated the Braves, who were the second best team in the National League, 95 some wins, something like that. Maybe 97. I forget. I'm bad at this. I'm as good as I can be at this. So I'm not somebody who'll go and look it all up on their phone and I just try to keep it here because this is what works pretty well for me. And that jerk who's all like, you know what his WAR was? Runners in scoring position on Thursday afternoons when rain's imminent. Yeah, that makes him a better player than your guy. And just these clowns who take what were jokes in the movie Major League that Bob Uecker saying, unless it was the other guy who said it, I forget, Monty. And it's like, well, on Tuesday night games, hitters only bat 183 off of them. So people now take that as real analytics and stats. And it's like, oh, this means something. No, it's baseball. Who knows what will happen any given day? Football's similar in that respect. So given those things, the LA Dodgers, with the third best record in all of Major League Baseball and the best record in the National League and one of the highest payrolls, got trounced by this upstart Washington Nationals team who saw the best player in Major League Baseball, according to some, Bryce Harper, go on and leave them to go play with the Philadelphia Phillies, who fired their manager in recent days. So, if it tells you anything, it's just how baseball is. It is a true team sport. Every play might not involve every single player on the team, but it's about what happens with those men on the field as opposed to what happens with the object in which you carry. And I mentioned that metaphor, and it's legitimate. In hockey, it's a puck, and you have to get the puck into the net. With soccer, it's a ball, and you have to get the ball into the net. In basketball, it's a ball, and you have to get the ball through the net, or the rim. As long as it's through the rim, you knock it out. Whatever. Finally, football, primary one that we cover on this show, is about what the ball does. The ball gets fumbled. You pick up the ball. You as the player, sure, you're doing the thing, but it's about what happens to the ball because you have to get the ball across the goal line or through the goalposts or whatever it might be. Every sport, it's about what the ball does. In baseball, you don't score points. You score runs. Those are represented by the runners. You get your runner home. Your runner gets home. Your runner goes from base to base. The runner. It's not about what the ball does. Sure, in a sense it is, because you got to hit the ball. The ball might get caught. The guy catches the ball. But at the end of it, it's all about the runner scoring the run. It's not about getting the ball across the plane or the warlike aspects of what it is. There's a whole Carlin bit on stuff that's actually more comical than whatever I was just doing there. But that's my personal thoughts on that. I think you're going to see a really good NLCS between the Cardinals and the Nationals. Could go 7 games. And it's going to show you the two differences in the league, at least this year, in how the National League, there's a lot more parity. There's a good 6-8 teams who are all right about the same level. They're all talented. They're all good ball clubs. You could see a completely different makeup to what's my prediction? What's my prediction on what? In the NLCS? Just all respects to the baseball stuff all together. NLCS wise, that's a true toss-up. But I think the Yankees have it in the AL. I think the American League is going to be represented by the New York Yankees. Astros got gassed. They showed their weaknesses. For as good as that pitching staff may be, they're tired. They're old. I mean, the Yankees, especially with they don't have home field advantage though. However, you can hit home runs at either ballpark. And in fact, that was the Twins who showed that they're a better home run hitting team on the road. So the Twins are out of it though. The Astros, I don't think they have enough to hang with the Yankees. All the final scores are going to be 8-6, 7-4 every single game. You won't really have a pitcher dominate a game. Maybe 1 or 2. Yankees will win those. Yankees are just, let's see, baseball's, yeah, it's a battle of pitchers, not batters. Sure. Well, I mean, look at it statistically, Epic. A successful batter succeeds 3 out of 10 times. That means the pitcher is succeeding 7 out of 10 times. It means the pitchers are better. Now, these numbers are slightly skewed once you get into the playoffs. Because once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. And guys can hit 400, 500. Their success rates are very high. And all it takes, and I love this about the way, I think it was the LA Times, they approached it when the Dodgers lost to the Nationals. Like it was all Clayton Kershaw's fault. And it was all the manager's fault for putting him in there in the 7th inning and him starting the 8th. If anything, you could have rode him all the way to the end of the game. You didn't have to go to the closer or whomever it was that they went to. I forget. It doesn't really matter at this point because they lost. And I only caught clips, the highlights more or less. Howie Kendrick, big grand slam, the top of the 10th inning. It made me think of the game where Tribe beat the Twins 7-3 earlier in the season. Too bad it was a game in August and not a game in October. Sorry, Santana hit a grand slam that particular game. It was a good game. And what you would have instead, that's because there's so many games in regular season, the average gets watered down. Yeah, that's, well, in a sense. I mean, that is right. It's the microcosm. It's why you won't see another guy bat 400. Not so much just because there's a handful more games now. It's just there are certain things. It's the rules of averages. Something I've gone on about when our show was on that crappy network. And now here on YouTube, which you're listening to now. The problem that you have with the regular season, and it's just the rules of averages, like I was saying, it just goes on, and you will only reach so many things. No quarterback is going to throw for 6,000 yards in a season, because even if that's 400 yards a game. And you do that for 16 games. mean, it's impossible. No one can do that week in and week out. And the same's true in baseball. You would have to get a hit every other at bat roughly to be able to bat. I mean, it's you'd have to go 2 for 5 every single night. So you'd have to be a leadoff hitter. You get to the plate 5 times in a game, every single game, and you get 2 hits in those 5 appearances. It's not going to happen. It goes 2 for 3 and 1 for 3 in consecutive nights. And then another 1 for 3, you're 4 for 9. There's your series, and you're batting 444, and you got to do that all year long. No one can do that. It's just beyond the ability of any athlete at the major league level. So what you do see in the playoffs is that it can be one person over the other. It can be heavily pitching dominated or heavily hitting dominated, but your weaknesses get exposed, and all of these teams have pitching weaknesses outside of the Cardinals, which is funny because the complaints I heard when Bauer got traded to the Reds is, oh man, this might make the Reds the best pitching staff in the National League Central. And that's a problem in the National League Central. They were complaining about how terrible that division is. The Indians would have won that division handily. And hot pitching cold streaks, hot PR cold streaks. Yeah, I mean, like Indians hitters were cold in 2017 and 2018 around the playoffs. We got cold a week too early this year and didn't even make the playoffs. Hot or cold streaks. And yeah, and that's how baseball works. Real quick, I want to let you know that we're going to go over to the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center. Foghorn Langhorn over there, representing Paul today.
You want to see how celebrity culture works?
Oh, celebrity culture working? All right, Dad.
Here's celebrity culture at work.
Okay.
Here's a news flash.
Oh, a news flash. All right, this will be my news. Breaking news coming in. This will be my breaking news song then. Just because it's the next song that's queued up anyway.
I saw this on the news before. I had to look it up, see if it was true.
Yeah, this will work for breaking news, sure. So, breaking news. Breaking news is that Billy Porter, patron saint of vocals, red carpets, and dramatic Glenn Close appraisals, is reportedly... Yeah, the guy who wore a dress to the Oscars. Is reportedly in talks to join Sony's Cinderella musical. However, he won't be playing just anyone. If the deal goes as planned, Porter will play Cinderella's iconic fairy godmother, according to Variety. I mean, I know it's 2019 and we're all very open-minded people and all this other stuff, but I mean, I don't know. John Travolta played see, but that's comedy. See, if it's comedy, then it's funny. I mean, John Travolta dressed in drag and played a woman in Hairspray. That's the deal. That's the bit with it. Billy Porter is going to be proven to be a serious attempt at this. It'll be a man in drag. If it were a comedy, it sounds funny to me. So traffic, everything is fine here on Henninger Road because it's a dead-end street. There's like no cars that ever drive down the street. Actually, start to get suspicious if there are cars driving down the street. And then in the weather, expect spotty showers later on with a high of 78. It's currently 74 degrees. Later on in the day, you can also expect darkness after sunset. I don't care if you guys get sick and tired of that joke. I like that joke, mostly because I wrote it to my knowledge. Since I gave you a little snippet of news, that was breaking news. Rest of the news, just letting you know that Frank Jackson gave a State of the City address and pretty much yelled at people for his family being criminals, nephews and grandchildren. And then the pink tax is a repeal on the tax on tampons because the claim is other products are not taxed. However, they're all non-food items. So if you don't want your tampons taxed, I guess make a compelling argument that they're edible. However, edible tampons would be the last thing I want to see hit the market. And lastly, assistant to the diving instructor, Hugh Jackson, has come out with a statement that they have found the 1984 Chrysler LeBaron convertible that Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky were driving. It was in the bottom of Lake Erie. However, Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky are either still at large, zombies, or ghosts. I'm going to play this song here, let you know that, hey, you're watching and listening. Oh, Dad's coming back. You just sit down? Yeah, of course. Sure. Oh, yeah.
I can join the show for a second.
Of course, you can join the show for as long as you want.
Well, I just want to interject on that. I'm not making a statement about LGBTQT rights or lack thereof. I'm not making any political statement whatsoever or anything about sexuality or anybody's sexuality.
Right.
My statement is around a different issue. The only reason anybody knows who this guy is because he wore a dress.
Right, because I don't even recall what television show it was that he was on.
Posse, I think. Pose. P-O-S-E.
It was an Empire?
Well, I thought it said Pose.
So he was on a show called Pose or something.
I think that's what I thought it said. I didn't read the whole thing. But the thing is, he didn't have like a big claim to fame before I heard that. I mean, I never heard of the guy before.
Well, when you brought it over and I was reading the article, I thought Billy Porter, wasn't he that guy who played piano on those Beatles songs?
Billy Preston.
That's Billy Preston. Names. And that was just my point there is who's who and what is it? He's a big deal simply because
he wore a dress
to the Oscars. Now, mind you, it really just looked like a fantastic kilt. They look gay, but anyway, it's so, and that's the other big part of it too, is that surprise, there's an actor who's a homosexual. What? You're kidding? No. Next thing you tell me that the Pope shits in the woods. No, that's not it.
That's bears.
Bears shit in the woods.
Bears.
Pope shit in that big hat that they wear. They wear it on their head and they go, I'm the Pope. All right, well, bye, Catholic listeners and viewers. They're gone now.
No, here's my point.
Yeah.
This will bring us back to our other conversation.
Yeah.
What I saw was wrong with the Browns' communication woes.
Okay.
After I heard the press conferences afterwards, and I listened to Baker Mayfield's attitude, I was a little concerned that he thought a little too highly of himself. And he was acting like a sensitive little child. And he was letting it be known, and he looked like a sore loser. At least he did to me.
Yeah.
And that's not good leadership.
It's part of this is my fault because I didn't delve into too much of the post Browns win over the Ravens thing, and everybody just all probably dancing all around and being all happy. And then because I'm not going to go too deeply into one side or the other after the terrible loss or the great win in what Twitterverse and all of those people do, because all people did after the Browns beat the Ravens 40-25. They kept going on about how, well, Beckham only had 2 receptions. Oh, there's something wrong. Everything's wrong and bad. So I didn't get a chance to really delve into Baker's stats and see his own personal reaction of, well, hey, that doesn't matter. They're just stats. On to the next game. Because if that's always the answer, then that's a good thing. That's fine. But if you flat out say it, and I've only heard it after going 8 for 22 and 100 yards and 2 interceptions, oh, the stats don't matter to me. Well, yeah, they're not going to matter to you when you sucked, and they better not matter to you when you suck. But they also better not matter to you when you're really good and you keep playing well, and the stats keep looking good, and you better not care what those stats are then either. Now, I'll bring up the stats, sure. It's partially my job. You throw 4 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions through the first 5 games, that's a problem. I don't care if you're overthrowing guys or if guys are letting balls bounce off their hands or you're throwing behind guys or if it was done because the guy was supposed to go this way and he went this way. And because that's the way football works. Guys will run the wrong routes sometimes. But from what I've seen from the interceptions, it's not his receiver's fault. These aren't the Brian Hoyer years where you could say it was because, well, he got nobody around him. Who's Colt McCoy's leading wide receiver and all this other stupid nonsense. He's got guys to throw the ball to. Not just the 2 big deal guys that they've traded for in the last 3 years between Landry and Beckham. He's got plenty of guys to facilitate the ball to. So if you've thrown twice as many interceptions as you have touchdowns through 5 games, you better care a little bit about those stats and improve on that.
I'll go back to my old-fashioned, old-school thinking.
Okay.
That tells me that respect is earned over
Correct.
time. And so also when you're talking about someone having celebrity, that means you're celebrating what they're doing, which means they better be doing something other than wearing a dress or wearing a Browns uniform.
Yeah, because is the guy even a good actor? I mean, these are things that need to be addressed. If the dude, but the thing is it's not like it's an adult comedy situation where you're doing a retelling of Cinderella and it's funny, so you stick a black dude in a dress. That's not what's happening. This is aimed at children, and it's to indoctrinate them in the idea that, well, hey, Boy George was cool. When I have a 6-year-old niece who knows better and sees Boy George performing a song in one of his music videos and says, why is that boy dressed like a girl? Because that's what's natural. That's what's normal.
Right.
Boy George could go and be flamboyant, and that's fine. But don't try to enforce it as if it's an indoctrination and some other type of thing. And you're right, and normalize it.
Right. And it's even worse. I mean, in terms of rights and equal rights, you can see because there's a big thing going on in the courts right now about it. The courts fighting over certain things in this regard with LGBTQ things. A couple of people were bringing things up, and they're trying to tie it to the Civil Rights Act in 1964.
Right.
And some of that has some validity, and some of it doesn't. But what is problematic with it, I'm not even talking about that part.
Right.
I'm just addressing the concept of celebrity.
Correct.
Because just because you do something outrageous shouldn't make you famous.
Right.
The word used to be infamous.
Correct.
If you did something outrageous, it wasn't celebrated.
Right.
So why is someone doing something outrageous seen as being brave? And look how brave he is. No, there's no bravery in that. Not in my opinion.
Yeah,
bravery is saving people out of a burning building.
As people change the definitions of words, that's what happens.
Right.
I mean, there's fine lines between crazy, brave, courageous, and ridiculous. But we know what ridiculous is. And ridiculous is now being called brave just because people see it as crazy and now they think it's courageous. But it's not courageous, it's just crazy.
Get back to the sports analogy, because this is the one that I can at least put a finger on.
Right.
Baker Mayfield won't prove himself until this season is over.
Oh, exactly.
He's not going to prove it in a couple of games. What kind of medal he has.
ESPN Cleveland had a great poll, and it was in respects to just these first 5 games of the season, and it was still like every level up there with Baker. And saying, well, hey, is Baker still your franchise QB? Have you lost a little faith in him? Or should we draft somebody else next year? He's gone. It's all garbage. Now I'm paraphrasing slightly. But it's all perpetrated. It can't just be as simple as, well, most guys that we look at, it's over years of a career. The Wilson kid in Seattle that we're going to watch play has played in the NFL for something like 9 years now. And a bit more of his success came earlier in his career, but he's a much better quarterback now than he was then. Not to name drop here, but a fella who's on the dial on the FM between 105.6 and 105.8 in the mornings. He's a friend of mine, and he tweeted out something. And I actually have his phone number in my phone. We're good friends. So Jimmy Malone, that's right, name drop. There it is. And Jimmy Malone, he went and he said Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFL. And now I don't agree with him. I'm not going to go on a tangent about it. But Russell Wilson is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And it took him 9 years to get there.
Right.
It's not going to happen with Baker overnight. He's played one full season worth of games.
Right.
Plus a couple.
Yep.
He's got at least 5 more years. And you better play him all 5 of those years. For you to don't go and start saying, well, we're going to try this Gilbert Grape kid out next year. We're going to give him more playing time this year. Browns have been doing this stuff since like the late 70s even. Maybe even longer. Even when Brian Sipe was really good in the 79 season, they tried out this other guy, Miller. I think his name was Mark Miller. Mark something. And he'd play just on occasion sporadically because they wanted to change it up a little bit. We think we're going to start playing him once Sipe retires. I mean, even Otto Graham had some backup that they throw in there, I think. It's not even just a Browns thing. It's an NFL thing. Got to give you a bunch of different looks.
Well, the point of the matter is this whole season started off on a bad footing with too much hype. And
oh, yeah.
And everybody knew it, but they didn't care because they were enjoying the hype too much. And I wasn't. I knew they had to come back down to earth a little bit, and I'm still seeing a little bit of resistance from Mayfield because I still think he's believing his own press a little too much.
Well, yeah.
That's what I see on the field. That's what matters.
Exactly.
Because he's not paying attention to what's going on the field. He's too much in his head. He's more like a pitcher than a quarterback.
He's not going to his second and third reads. He's like a pitcher who doesn't listen to his catcher. We know that guy. He's in Cincinnati now.
Right.
As much as I liked him, that was a big problem with him. He wouldn't listen to his catcher.
Wouldn't listen to his manager either.
Somebody started up a motorcycle.
No, it's a car.
Someone's starting up a car. Sounds like a motorcycle. Or a chainsaw. It is October. It's Freddie. It's Meat Face. What the hell? Leatherface. Meat Face. Old meathead's out there with his chainsaw. Character from All in the Family. Oh, hey, Meathead's gone.
I'm gonna move.
All right, Dad. And so I have Josh asking what he missed. He just got off the bus, whatever that's all about. Yeah, you just listen. You're listening now. We were talking about whatever it was you were missing because it was happening. Should do this stuff here. I'll let everybody know that here at WBBN, the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network, the views and opinions of this program don't express those of ownership. Ownership is vehemently against cronyism and nepotism. Now back over to the guy who owns the station, who was just talking to his dad, who are the only people on today's show, outside of when his brother called. Nepotism. Head on over to the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center, which is right here. Same place. That's technically it's there. So if I ever had a sponsor, they call the Traffic and Weather Center somebody else, that's who that would be. Traffic and weather. Right now, the traffic, everything is fine on Henninger Road, except apparently that chainsaw or whatever hell's going on over there. That's the extent of traffic thus far. Weather-wise, you can expect spotty showers later. It's a high of 78 around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Currently, it's 74 degrees. And later on, you can expect darkness after the sun sets. In the news, almost that whole last segment was news. Guy who's going to play Cinderella's fairy godmother. That's going to happen, I guess. At least they're in talks. So dumb. Mayor Frank Jackson gave his State of the City address, kept answering questions about his own family and their legal woes. Is that a good angle? I don't know. I'll address Garsky about my too much stuff in the background thing later. I guess that is a little bit of a mess. I like that picture there, though. It's an old car, a 30 Packard, something. And there's a bunch of old record albums. That's the thing I've got to move. I'll move the record albums, Garsky. Pink tax, a repeal on the tax on tampons. Because, when you got to buy pads, they cost $7. How dare you spend that extra 56 cents on tax? Other items are taxed, at least to my knowledge. Other thing that I got to get in here is I play this song that I should already been playing. Screwing up today. Yesterday was easier because I had Paul here. So occasionally he would just talk and say absolutely nothing. And that helps me out because then I can do my other things that are also kind of nothing too. It's the blues. And the next song I have queued up is for Paul's Random Thought anyway, but he's not here today. He's out on location. And his phone call, I really had no idea what he was talking about. He's talking about produce that he bought. Green peppers and cucumbers. Asking me what I had in the fridge. He had already bought it. The rest of the news being Bill Cosby, Jerry Sandusky are believed to be on the loose or zombies or ghosts or something. Assistant to the diving investigator, Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson is the assistant to the diving investigator. He says that one of those things has occurred, that they found the 84 Chrysler LeBaron convertible, the bottom of Lake Erie, which the two suspects were last seen. But now the two suspects are either lost, dead and not found, still on the loose, zombies or ghosts. That's Hugh Jackson for you. Definitely no bad days. I guess cram the commercials part into this. I got to record actual commercials, but I don't have any sponsors. So if you want to sponsor, or if you want to be a producer on this show, quite frankly, you can be a producer on this program if you go to patreon.com, the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. And on there, you pledge $5 a month. And just think about it. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. I know how much you fools are spending on your coffee. You get one of your McCrap Future Poop Burgers, the side of fries, and a big shake. And you know what? You're spending more than $5 just that day on that nonsense. So why not spread it out? Spend that $5 a month on a subscription to the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network on patreon.com. Go to patreon.com, find the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network, and join that tier 1. It's the only tier there is. Yeah, there's only like 1,999 spots left. So get yours today, and you can help produce this show. You just tell me what you want to see. So here we are. We're coming back. That counts for traffic and weather, news, and commercials. I got to get better on the commercials thing. Sad thing about it is we've covered just about all of our topics. I'm not going to talk about hockey. I got no hockey to talk about. As opposed to where Paul will talk about hockey, even though he's got no hockey to talk about. I like this song too. And just so you know, we are the Warren Brothers Sports Show here on the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network, coming to you live from our from our Henninger Road studios here in Old Brooklyn, Ohio. And I jumped ahead several words. Let's see. It's not time for the bottom of the hour. We got 20 minutes before that. Browns, NFL, Major League Baseball, Paul. Those were my plans for the day. That was all the stuff I was going to talk about. Pretty much talked about it all. I wanted to get to the wrap-up segment next. So I was going to talk about Ohio State football, but apparently I'm a week off. Didn't realize. Guess I should have looked at the little numbers that said date next to the upcoming game. Thought we were playing tonight against Northwestern. You want to talk about a game that's going to be a snooze fest. Ohio State could score 70 in that one, quite frankly. Position this better. Get that over there. We'll bring fake Paul back. We'll get fake Paul over there. There we go. Paul today is being played by his understudy, Foghorn Leghorn Doll. That's what's happening. Could you imagine if I had done this show this way when it was on the other network? It would not have liked that. I would have got him fired sooner. Well, I'm kind of stuck without Paul being here. He'd say something random at this point in time. That's what helps. This is the Paul's Random Thought segment, and I've got no Paul to say random things. I should have written a random thing of which for Paul to say. Sadly, with fewer viewers than yesterday, the closest thing I've had is Epic saying some random stuff and Josh asking what he missed and then never responding again. So, if you're out there listening, help a guy out because I'm actually at a loss for words for once. Because I'm not thrilled about this American League Championship Series. That's basically it's the thing that's first and foremost on my mind. The last two teams I wanted to see there are there. Yeah, I would have rather have seen the Twins there. Sure, I feel that way. It's how I feel. I didn't think it would happen. I don't even think the Twins will make the playoffs next year. They're not going to get this pitching next year. And this pitching this year wasn't that good. Their pitching isn't going to improve. And they're only going to have more injuries. Because those guys aren't going to chance a whole other season of doing all those steroids. I don't know how the Astros keep getting away with it. Are sending fake reporters into the other team's dugouts to find out what pitches they're throwing. Or what it means. Like, this is a fastball, this is a curveball, this is a splitter. All that stuff that they do. Because the Astros have been caught doing it. There's no reason they'd stop. Organizations work the way that the ways that they do. They keep doing the same things over and over again. People keep bemoaning the Indians for not having Melky Cabrera here. I think that's the right guy, right? No, it's Abe Almonte. I forget what Cabrera. I don't remember if Cabrera got dinged with a 50-day suspension for roids. But you can look through time how many Indians players have been dinged with roids, how many there were even speculation of. 5, 6 guys. They don't make a habit of keeping those guys around. Even Manny. Manny was gone long before the roids rumors. Long before. And that wasn't, I don't know who knew of what and what other things. Bet you Jensen Lewis does roids. That guy. Tiny little head, enormous shoulders. It's not natural. My head's perpendicular to my enormous shoulders. Big freaking head that I've got. So yeah, I know. I don't want to watch any of these Yankees Astros games. It's gonna suck. But I kind of figure the Yankees will win that series, and who will they go up against? Cardinals or Nats? Both are a little bit of a surprise to even be in the NLCS. The Cardinals might have the best pitching, though. Couldn't name a single one of those guys. That's the truth of the matter. That's how the Indians are, though. When this Indians team makes the playoffs next year, yeah, no, I said it. It's going to happen. They're going to win the Central. Might even have the second best record in the American League. But it's going to be with a pitching staff and a bullpen where naturally people aren't going to be able to name those guys. We're going to have a tough time doing that. I still confuse Savali and Plesac and Plutko and Pickle and Bieber and Bobber and Boober. Bauer, he's gone. Kluber. Carrasco, Abendigo. That guy's in the Bible. But anyway, you're not going to see it. This happened enough times with the National League, American League matchups where it's not the team with the best record from the National League making it, but it could be the best National League team overall. That's just how the National League is constructed. That's the way it's going. You had 6 teams in the American League who had 6 of the 8 best records in all of Major League Baseball. That's why it happened, because those were, during the regular season, 6 of the 8 best teams. Were they the... I mean, you're not even really watching the 2 best teams in American League Baseball play. No, that's of what the opinion I am of. The Rays and the Athletics were, with what they were able to do this year. Those were 2 teams that 15 years ago, if they were constructed the same way, would have won 70 to 80 games. Baseball has just changed that slight bit as a sport. It's not the steroid game that it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's a better game now. It's better than football is. Football sold out. Football plays towards the lowest common denominators. It's about having glitzy halftime shows, 4-hour-long pre-games, heading out to London every freaking week, playing on Thursday nights, every single Thursday night. I mean, Monday Night Football was great, and it took them 50 years to do that. Here's another 50 years after that. Now we're overdoing it. The Super Bowl's a spectacle, because mind you, Monday Night Football came during the same year as the 4th Super Bowl, right after the AFL-NFL merger. They became one league, 2 conferences. And in 50 years' time, took them 50 years to get that far, another 50 years. Now there's too much. The Super Bowl is what it is. Not about the game. It's about all the parties and the day that most chicken wings are eaten and all these other stupid things. Seeing what's-her-face's boob, Justin Timberlake. And just all that nonsense. Comes down to nonsense. Football has become more spectacle than it is about the game. I want to talk about the game. Browns. They have a winnable game this Sunday. Sure, the Seahawks are coming in at 4-1. But like I said at the beginning of the show, the Seahawks, they could be just as easily 1-4. I believe that. I think it's the truth. Rams should have beat them. I think the Rams played better that day. The Bengals actually played better on the opener. I really thought the Bengals were going to win that game. Steelers won. The Steelers should have won. I think that was the day Roethlisberger got hurt. Rudolph was barely able to keep him in it. However that all happened. I don't remember. Again, that's in a baseball season, you should be forgiven for forgetting stuff that happened a month earlier. But that stuff I can remember. This is more entertaining. Football, you forget it. Football is like fast food burgers. You just cram them down your pie hole, and then you regret it a couple hours later while you're sitting on the can. Baseball ages better. It's one of those steaks that you stick out, just wait 2 months and you get it, and Steve Reichland screws it up and just burns the crap out of it on his stupid show. He just burns everything. That's all he does. Here at the bottom of the hour, I want to remind you that this is WBBN, the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. The views and opinions of this program don't express those of ownership. Ownership is vehemently against cronyism and nepotism. Now back to the owner, who normally has his brother and father on and reads live chat from his friends. Anti-cronyism and nepotism. What was I doing? Better check these other couple things. Make sure that's queued. Oh, no, that isn't queued up. Go back and click on this. So it's ready. All right. Other stuff still working, still streaming live out to you in the world, whether you're on the bus or in your living room or in a van. The van thing. Where did that come from? Oh, yeah. The guys try to abduct women while they're in their vans. That was yesterday's news, which was the day before's news. Anyhow, yeah, this is just going swimmingly. In a couple minutes here, we're going to take a break, and we're going to head back to what the Browns can do to beat the Seahawks. Anything intriguing you may find in NFL Week 6, like that Redskins Dolphins game. They've played 9 games, combined 9 losses between the two of them. I wonder if Dwayne Haskins Jr. is going to get the start for the Washington Redskins. That's the only reason why I'd be interested, because Ohio State football, because he's their quarterback, got drafted, and I'd like to see an Ohio State quarterback finally make it, like be good in the NFL, not like Mike Tomczak good, which isn't that good. Craig Krenzel worthy. Guys who basically wind up being backups for the Bears. They both played there. And of course, right when I was going to go to a break, I get a phone call. Yes, okay. Oh, here's a phone call. I think I answered. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Here, hang on. Let me turn you up, I think. Caller? John Smith from Windows? John, you've got to speak up, John. Yes, John Smith from Windows. What do you want? My windows? I guess my windows are all right. I can see out of them and everything, and it keeps the sunlight comes in, and it keeps the cold out for the most part. My computer? Yeah, well, I'm actually using my computer right now, but what do Windows have to do with my computer? You've got something new for me? What? What? It's now I'm way too loud, and it's all coming through my headphones. I want to make sure that's loud enough. John Smith, are you hanging up on me? Oh, all right, that was weird. I have no idea what that was all about. No, my windows seem fine. At least I think I'm looking out a window right now. That natural sunlight behind me coming from a window. I think I guess someone just called me to try to sell me Windows or a computer or something. Oh, I guess that'll happen. Right now, we're going to throw it on over to the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center. Currently, the traffic is everything's fine on Henninger Road. Nobody drives down this street. It's a dead end. So the traffic, there's nothing going on. There's no window right here. This direction, no window. So I can't tell that way. And then weather, you can expect spotty showers throughout the rest of the day and a high of 78. It's currently 74 degrees. And you can also expect darkness after the sun sets. That should happen. Okay. Thanks. I only told that joke like 19 times now. Yeah, it's nice fall weather. Over here in the old Brooklyn news desk, we've got Mayor Frank Jackson. I forgot to do the thing. These random phone calls throw me off. Should be playing music right now. That way you got a music bed. You got the music bed under me giving you weather and all these other updates and the news. And the news, that's right. Just like I was saying about Mayor Frank Jackson. See, now the music just seems too damn loud. That's not it. Which one was it? There it is. You quiet down there, music. That's better. Man, listening to 92.3 That's what you're supposed to feel like. We're the competition. So I'm going up against the two guys I like. I'd rather be up against the bull crap and the wolf. Justin Fox, that tool. Watch the replays of this while that's on. Mayor Frank Jackson gave a State of the City address. Was sure to tell everybody not to worry about his family because he's not worried about ours. No, that's not what he said. The pink tax, it's called the pink tax. It's a repeal on the tax on tampons because other products aren't taxed, which isn't true because all non-food items are taxed. And so they want to repeal the tax on tampons. Yeah, get to work, Josh. Talk to me later. Have a good day at work. Tell all those jerks to tune in sometime. Not like they're so busy working. They can put it on their damn phones at work. Not like y'all work so hard out there. I'm sure they'll be glad to hear that. Thought about applying for a job there. And lastly, Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky still on the loose, or zombies, or possibly ghosts. The assistant to the head diver, Hugh Jackson. That is the man's name, Hugh Jackson, and his new job is the assistant to the head diver. That's what he does now. And he says that Jerry Sandusky and Bill Cosby are still on the loose, zombies, or ghosts. Analysis. Last thing. Want to remind you all, while you're here at the YouTube channel, Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. Like, subscribe, hit those buttons, share, tell a friend, break your phone because you're so mad at how terrible this show is. Whatever it is you do. You do whatever it is you do. Because I don't care. Because we're the Warren Brothers. I've gotten fired from one job, I'll get fired from another. And this guy, it's Foghorn Leghorn. He's representing my brother today because Paul's out on assignment doing shenanigans over in First Energy Stadium. That's where he's at or some nonsense. So lastly, it's enough of a commercial for me. I'm terrible at doing the commercials. As Paul and I actually have to sit down either this weekend or Tuesday or something. We'll make up some commercials. But if you want to help us out, go to patreon.com, Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. $5 a month. Just think. That's like 300% cheaper, 400% cheaper than all those other things you could give to for a month, like $19.95 to feed elderly Jewish women or save dogs that Sarah McLachlan sings songs about, or what's that one? Is even $9.95 a month. That's how much Alec Trebek is begging you to give for your 3 Ps, or whatever all these other things are. You could help Shriners do weird stuff with kids, whatever. Buy those funny little hats, and they all got those hats. That costs like $20 a month per person. That's ridiculous. Instead, devote just $5 a month to me, and you get entertained, and you become a producer on the show. I'll list you as a producer, and you tell me what you want to hear. You give me input on the Patreon, and you get my daily blog thing that I'm doing. There's 7 of them up there now. They suck. They're just terrible. But they're better than whatever nonsense it is you could be doing in feeding dying Shriner puppy dog Jews, or their Jewish dogs or something. I forget. I don't remember. All the commercials tend to cram together. You get those like stupid visors, like you can see through things. That's maybe if I mute that, kind of pinging through. Hearing some sort of background noise. It doesn't really matter. Oh, maybe is that the thing? Is that what I did? No. Why is that doing that? Do I need to do this? Is that better? Or is this better? No, that's the monitor. Well, something weird started to kind of happen in there. Oh, well. As long as you can hear me and I can hear me, then we're all heard. Well, I'm heard. And if you want to be heard, call the show, 216-487-1507. Phone number again, 216-487-1507. Or just keep putting stuff on the live stream thing there. There's a way to talk to me there. Or you just catch the ramblings some other time. I'm going to tie this all together. That's what I'm going to try to do. Tie it together? Would that be what we call this last segment? We could go that route with it if you want. I don't know. I need input on that one because we used to call it putting a bow on the show, but I don't like calling it that anymore because I started hearing all sorts of other things. You go the sadomasochist route and call it tie it together. Oh yeah, tie it up. No. So this is the last segment. Ended after this. I can handle about 2 hours on my own. I wish Paul was here. Paul was helpful. It was a real weird last phone call I got. At least Josh heard it. Something about guy was selling me Windows. I don't know. Maybe buy one, get 4 free. I couldn't tell what he was talking about. Wanted to know if I was on my computer. Oh, Windows. Whatever. So, I guess lastly, don't expect like an upset where the Bengals defeat the Ravens, but I would expect it to be a closer game than like the shellacking the Ravens put on the Dolphins in week 1, 59-0. We know the Dolphins are really bad. The Bengals are a different kind of bad. We knew they'd be bad this year. I had them slated at 5 or 6 wins, but I don't think they'll get crushed by the Ravens. They'll lose. Probably by about a touchdown. I mean, the Bengals almost beat the Steelers this last week. No, wait. Steelers almost beat the Ravens. I don't really care. I just need the Browns to win. You know what? That's how I'm going to finish this all up today as I take a slug out of my half-gallon ice. All right. So here's the deal. The Seahawks shouldn't be taken lightly, but they shouldn't be feared like you legitimately should have given the Rams all of the credit that that they deserved coming into the football game they played a couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago at this point, it's been a while. It was a Sunday nighter. You played the Rams. You lost 20-13. You could have tied the score in the damn game. You played well enough, and even on that last drive, I was getting so pissed when I heard Al Michaels of all people say, so what do you think? They score the touchdown here and then they go for the extra point? You're trying to go for 2 to win the game and make a statement. No, Al Michaels. This is kind of stupid crap I expect Chris Collinsworth to say. But this is you, Al Michaels. What the hell are you doing? They got to score the touchdown first before you speculate on what they're going to do. Instead, they throw 4 passes and blow it. See, I'm still mad about that. That's 3 weeks ago. You shouldn't have even been in that game. You should have lost that game by 2 touchdowns. You played well enough to almost beat the Rams. And then you lay this egg in San Francisco against the Niners. With a really well-played game sandwiched in between against the Ravens, you crushed the Jets like you were supposed to. You guys could have played anywhere in the world. You could have been in London. You would have beat the Jets. And, of course, the stinker that you had against the Titans, which was really just a terrible fourth quarter, quite frankly. But you out and out, you sucked against the Niners. So now we're back here. We're back here again. And we probably have all the same feelings. If you have all the same logical thoughts that you have after the Titans game, think logically. Use your brain. Know how you can beat the Seahawks. Seahawks aren't great. They're not. People love Pete Carroll in the NFL. And all. I hate Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll. He's, let's see, because like when everybody else got in trouble for stuff that he was the mastermind of. I mean, like, where else is there? Like the Clintons? Or even, the way Trump's portrayed? Aren't those like kind of the same things in there? Oh, I better not get political. Who's going to fire me? Myself. So anyway, I get banned from YouTube. But Pete Carroll literally ran USC, ran it well, got them a national championship. I know they played in a national championship game. 2 of those kids got drafted Reggie Bush, quite frankly, was one of the best college players of all time. Won a Heisman Trophy. Matt Leinart was a good quarterback for a guy who's left-handed. No offense to anybody who's left-handed, but if you're a left-handed quarterback, why even bother? Don't even try. Just be right-handed. Hell, just if you're left-handed in general, just stop being. Just give up on that. Teach yourself to be right-handed. It's better. It's not true. I'm ambidextrous, so I claim. And, you had a great program there in USC. Kind of weird. These kids owned they think this one kid had a real nice apartment off campus. Man, these kids own cars. Sir, what's that his mom's driving around? That's a real nice car. She bought a house? That's suspicious. How do college athletes have hundreds of thousands of dollars that their coach found for them? Disappeared, took a job, coached the Seattle Seahawks like a year before all these indictments went down, all this stuff. Reggie Bush giving back his Heisman Trophy, all sorts of things. Nice thing is Reggie Bush isn't the only USC running back to ever have to give back his Heisman Trophy. Of course, the other guy killed people, allegedly, O.J. Simpson. And so what you do is you've avoided all consequence whatsoever because you're Pete Carroll. Because you're an old white guy. I don't care how liberal you pretend to be. I don't care how conservative you pretend to be. Whatever you are, Pete Carroll, F you. Because I don't even like the school. I have an ex-girlfriend who went to USC. She's a psychopath. I'll leave that at that. And just, I don't care. I don't care about USC. I do not give a crap about USC. But the guy ruined it, got off scot-free. All these other people paid for his crimes. We've seen similarities run rampant through Ohio State every few years, and people get real mad about those coaches. Oh, that Pete Tressel, all those things he did, he got off with a slap on the wrist. Oh, that Urban Meyer, he probably knew stuff about what that one coach did with his wife. His wife was probably the same kind of sociopath that ex-girlfriend of mine was. Read 50 Shades of Grey. I'm just saying don't read 50 Shades of Grey, but if you want an idea of sociopaths, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Make that look like a Winnie the Pooh book. Anyway, what I'm saying is Pete Carroll sucks. He got away with stuff, and people still love him, despite the fact that they all know that he got away with stuff. So F Pete Carroll and F the Seahawks. Browns win 31-17. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I'll do. That's the whole reason why I'll give the prediction. It's because I don't like Pete Carroll. There's more to it than that. I mean, I can't see the Browns having 3 straight weeks of awful run defense. It's just flat out awful. Run defense. You give up 150 yards per game for 2 straight weeks. That'll happen. It's the NFL. It can happen. 3 straight weeks, doubt it. I don't see 3 straight weeks of that kind of futility on defense. Passing game's been good. Buddy of mine, Jake Underwood, out there, if you're listening, he had mentioned this yesterday in our other discussions, not on air, that it's this 4-2-5 that we run. Maybe he had that in the live chat. I don't remember. But you run this weird 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 DBs. And one of your linebackers is still leading your team in tackles, and that's Schobert, who, quite frankly, this 4-2-5 alignment it's strange that he's one of the 2. And the other one's a rookie in Hughes. I keep calling him Hughes. I know that's not his name. Damn it. Anyway, so the other, Mac Wilson, great rookie linebacker, will work better in a 4-3. We're running this strange 4-2-5, and it's doing a great job against the pass because that's what it's designed to do. But you don't really have that other safety who's like a Palomalu type, who's the safety that you need to have in that kind of system. That other guy is going to run up and make tackles like a linebacker would. Because that's the way it would work in the 3-4s or 4-3s or whatever it was that other teams ran. So it's almost like you had 8 guys in your front 7. You know, air quotes, makes sense. Think about it. So you had a guy who was basically playing 2 roles at once. Palomalu was that good. Former USC guy. Wonder if he had any awards taken away from him. Bet his mom had a nice house before he graduated. Anyway, I digress. Going off on a tangent here. So for the Browns to win this ball game, Keep the turnovers at a minimum. No 2-pick performances again. You throw 1 interception, that's fine. I expect it. It's Baker Mayfield. It's going to take another 2 years for him to calm that down. I mean, I don't expect him to throw 20 picks every single season, but I'm expecting it this year. I said it before the season started. I stick by it. In response to what we have to do to win this game, yeah, stop them from running the ball. And I know that sounds dumb. It's simple, elementary kind of stuff there. How do you do so? Apparently, they're one really good running back, Kaysen. He's been limited in practice this week. If you don't face him, then Westbrook, he scrambles, but he doesn't always run once he leaves the pocket. He's looking to pass first. He's a good passer. They make a big deal out of his height. Not the tallest guy. That's fine. But he'll play. He plays well enough. He is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. And you currently have a guy who's somewhere between 15th and 20th. Maybe 15th-ish. I've said it. I'll say it again. He hasn't earned that yet. He could be Westbrook in 5 years. That's the hope. That's the plan. But it's games like this upcoming Sunday where he starts to try to prove that. Play within yourself. You throw the ball 40 times, complete 25 of them. You only threw the ball 22 times. That's another problem that the Browns had. That offense couldn't stay on the field. You figure if Chubbs ran 17 times and we passed 22 times, there were a handful of other plays. I've just listed 39 plays. What, another 6? You only had 45 plays on offense. You got to be in that 60 range. You got to have 60 plus plays on offense. You were nowhere near that. 45 offensive plays. I'm not looking at the time of possession right in front of me. I'm sure the 49ers dominated that. As an offense, you have to stay on the field. That's how you win ball games. You don't turn the ball over, and maybe once. Maybe you lose a fumble even. You can turn the ball over twice in a ball game and still win the ball game. You better force some turnovers, 3, 4, 5 turnovers. You can. Your defense is capable of it. You have a good defense. Stop the run. Establish the run on offense. You got Nick Chubbs. He's one of the 5 or 10 best running backs in the NFL. Play hard. Win the damn ball game. Don't start goofing around in the third quarter because you gave up a touchdown. And now you're down 28-4. What are we going to do? We went in the half down 21-3. We gave up another touchdown. And we still suck. And we're going to throw incompletions. We're trying to throw 20-yard passes, but we only need 5 at a time. I mean, real good football. You gain 3 yards at a time running the ball. 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That still works now. Pass the ball once in a while. High percentage passes. And this is the crazy thing about it. The guy's completion percentage is probably down, 5%? And what a huge difference that is. 63% down to 58%. And what a big deal that just a little 5% is. And that goes right back to the baseball stuff. What's the difference between a 250 hitter and a 300 hitter? I don't know because I'm a moron. Not that you are, Epic, if you're still listening. That's not you. I'm talking about people who don't understand what you and I were talking about. You, me, and my dad. He'll talk. A lot of us talk about that, and we get it. Then you have people who are like, but you fail. You fail 7 or 8 times. Blah, 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 blah. Not about the fails. It's about the times you are a success. And that's the difference. And the difference in when you are a success versus when you fail. Because when you think about it that way, and the greatest passers of all time are merely at 60%, and they think passers who are at 55% are garbage. So that the difference then is right where we're at with batting. I mean, there's when you look at the statistics of all these things, sometimes where I lose some of you people, but sometimes it's what you appreciate. All depends on who you are and where you're at, especially in the old cognitive area. You got to think to yourselves. It's not about the speculation. See, I'm getting into my own head here at this point, because people would rather hear about like a guy wearing a watch or what trade could possibly happen or some Jason Kipnis stuff that has nothing to do with anything at this point in time. The stuff that's tangible that's here in the right now that we can actually see and touch and that, not taste. You can't taste statistics, and you can't taste the game that you're watching unless you're licking your TV. And I figure some of you probably do lick your televisions. And that's not a dirty joke. That's just because you're dumb and you lick TVs. You probably take the extension cord, the part that you plug in to the wall there and everything. You're like, oh, it's zapped. But when it comes to what you have sports wise, that's all that you have. It's the stuff that's right there. And you want to make it about a bunch of other things. You want to make your narrative ring through. And so since you have your narrative, you take the stats and turn them into what you want to turn them into. Baker Mayfield is a fine quarterback. Freddie Kitchens is a good offensive mind. And at this moment in time, they're trying to do more than they need to be doing because they're wanting to prove that they can hang with the better teams, which is whom they're playing. I mean, look at it. It's right there in front of you. The Rams, former NFC champs. They were just in the Super Bowl. Titans were just in the playoffs last year. I know they're 2-3 right now. But in that division, they could wind up winning that division. The Texans are going to win that division. The Jets suck. Ravens are going to win your division. They just won your division last year. They're the best team in the AFC North right now. It's facts. Those are facts. You can go on about your Lamar Jackson crap, but it is what it is. You played the San Francisco 49ers, who I last year had predicted to win the Super Bowl, but Jimmy G got hurt. It makes me wonder how good the 49ers would have been last year with a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. And especially now, how we see they have trounced the Browns. Mind you, all they've played really is the AFC North. They've had their bye week already. And some other game, was it the Cardinals? I don't even know who they played in their other game. 49ers haven't had as hard a schedule as the Browns. But when you look at just the Browns' schedule alone thus far, even going into this 6th week, they have played technically 2 losing teams, one of which is the 0-4 Jets, but the other ones being the 2-3 Titans, the 3-2 Rams, the 3-2 Ravens, the aforementioned the Niners with their 4-0 Jets, and now you'll be playing the 4-1 Seahawks. Even though, again, as I was saying, the 4-1 isn't necessarily a lie, but it's something to look past. 3 of their 4 wins were won by a total of 4 games. Scratch and sniff television. Thanks for chiming in with something, Dave Hughes. I didn't get a Paul's random thought, so I got a Dave Hughes random thought. Associate producer Dave chiming in with something in the live chat. I'm glad you joined us right at the end, jackass. So, no, I'm kidding. Wait, how's this scratch and sniff television? What the hell was I talking about? Oh, you're the kind of guy who probably licks plugs. So, I'm kidding, Dave. Dave's probably busy working and stuff. He paints. Hire him or something. Get a hold of him. I'm not doing it for you. There's your commercial. There you go. You owe me money. So, I'll have an invoice for you. You have an invoice for me. We'll just trade it off. You paint like a room in my house, and I'll just keep saying, hire Dave to paint your house. So, I don't have a room that needs painted. Part of the outside. Anyway, listen, Dave, and Josh, if you're still listening, and anyone else who might be out there. You can win this game on Sunday. You can go into the bye week 3-3. I would feel pretty damn good about that because I don't care how you ended last season and you trade for old BJ. 10% of all jobs, you get me. You get me. Don't you get you? 10% of all jobs. You're the only guy who works for you. 100% of all jobs, you get you. Oh, wait. Oh, 10% off. Oh, 10% of all jobs, you get me. Yeah, I'd work for that. Hire Dave. What's the name of your company? Give me your phone number. For the 4 people who are watching, which is about 3 more people who would listen at the other station, which sucked. All craps. I should probably stop blasting them. I think I signed something when I started going to school there. I can't say. See, I never mentioned them directly. What was that tagline they had, though? The future, some nonsense. I'd always try to get everybody to say it in unison. We never do the commercials right. I say the Cleveland Browns win this game on Sunday. You go into the bye week. Sure, you're going to get beat by the New England Patriots in New England, most likely. Because I don't know when their bye week is. But they're 6-0 right now. they're looking like they're headed towards the AFC Championship game already. So tired of that damn team. I could do another half an hour just on them. I got to get to wrapping this up because I had said this was my last segment. And this is usually what I do. Plan is to go noon to 3. Eventually, I want to go noon to 3. But noon to 2 seems plenty good enough. 2 hours. People see that 2-hour time there and they're like, I'm not going to watch a show for 2 hours. Especially in a sense like today where it was me. Paul was out on location. Dad contributed some. That was helpful. And sitting in for Paul has been fake foghorn, leghorn, plush cartoon thing. Paul owns dolls. That's what that is. The guy's built kind of like Paul, too, even. Foghorn, leghorn with his Paul gut there. So anyway, that about wraps it up for here. Make sure you watch. You go to the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network on YouTube. You can watch us here and all that. I want to use this as my ending music, by the way. I figure out how to turn the damn thing down. I just had it down. Maybe it's just in my headphones. It's that loud. If you can hear me and the song, that's fine. You should know what that song is. It's oh damn it, I forgot the name of the stupid song I was gonna say it was. Because it's actually The Entertainer by Joplin. But I was gonna say it was that one Truth Hurts by Lizzo. Can't you tell? No. Because it's nowhere near. This is way better. Truth Hurts would just have like 3 of those notes and that's it. All right, so lastly, make sure, you find us on the YouTube, Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. You can watch this programming and hopefully in time, other programming. Because if you follow us on Patreon, Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network, give us money. And that'll help provide more programming. Follow me on Twitter at MarkWarren216 or Instagram, MarkDWarren216. Also follow the show in the network on Facebook, the Warren Bros Sports Show, or also Warren Bros Sports Show at Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. They are 2 different ones. Paul runs one, I run the other. I don't know how it's so confusing. One has a picture of Charlie Brown, and the other has a picture of a big old letter W. I guess that's just about it. Thank you for watching the Warren Brothers Sports Show. Coming to you live from the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network's. No, it's the Henninger Road Studios. What the hell am I doing? That's a terrible sign-off. So much easier to have the sign-off when Paul's here, isn't it? He starts going on, and I just say stuff. Also, I was hoping this song would be over by now. I forgot about this interlude part here. And, of course, I'm going to talk during the whole song. And then there's the other thing that I got to queue up to tell me how long the song is. And that's that right there. That was covering my face. Damn it, there's still like 40 seconds left. Well, anyway. All right. That was all the shout-out things I had to do. Thank you, Dave, Josh, Epic, all for listening and things like that. Dad for contributing. Paul for calling in. That weird phone call about a guy trying to sell me Windows. For all of you people and anyone else who was listening, I have been Mark Warren. And until next time, this time has been the most recent.